So many of you guys are wondering, what is the difference really between the Revolution 2500 and the ProPulse 220? This video here will do a recap and explanation why and how and where and what the difference really is. I've had my first ProPulse 200 and then ProPulse 220 since late 2015, so almost 8 years ago. It's an awesome machine. I love it. About 2 years ago, the engineers from Stel approached me and said, we want to build a machine with some input from you, like a real machine made by welders, for welders. And I was lucky enough to put my input in when the page was blank and basically design my own machine with the help from my friends at Stel. And this is what came about. The Revolution 2500, the world's first all-pulse, true all-in-one AC/DC Tig machine, 5 amps starting, 250 amp max output, MIG and pulse MIG machine, low end of 13-ish amps, high end of 220 amps, with a peak of over 280 amps. The machine does not detune and reduce settings as easily as the ProPulse 220 does. And stick and pulse stick machine, 200 amp. It's a dual voltage machine, 110 and 220. It will run on a 7,000 watt generator or 30 amp dryer outlet at home. But enough of this. I mean, everybody can read a spec sheet. Typically my videos, they will tell you what you don't see in the spec sheet. So if you want me to make a spec sheet reading video and really point everything out to the great detail, I will do this. But let's start with the stuff that you don't really see. Let's talk about arc dynamic. Like, no spec sheet in the world, when you're like a car buyer or a welding machine buyer, if you're a car buyer back in the days when they had printed brochures, none of it says drivability. That's when you get your butt in the seat and you drive it to the ice cream parlor on Sundays, and you figure out, yes, I like it, or no, I don't. Same thing with the welding machine. Nowhere on the welding machine it tells you arc dynamic, like you will love how this machine welds. And that's the problem. You can have all the horsepower, all the amperage that you want, but does it really weld the way you want it to weld? Is the machine easy to operate or is it not? Well, again, that's something that only you can figure out. And I'm sitting here talking to my microphone and you're on the other side of the screen, and I can tell you a lot of things, but you don't really know till you actually weld with it yourself. So the next topic is TIG welding, starting amperage. Yes, 5 amps starting, but you have adjustable hot start and you can even turn it off completely. I will have a separate video on hot start on aluminum, because that is, as I tried to talk this into here, that was a 3-minute explanation already. So the next topic is ease of operation. How easy is it really to operate a machine like this that is kind of convoluted, has a lot of features and a lot of functions? Do you need a degree in computer science, or is it easy to pick this up and go through the menu and just like intuitively pick this up? So everybody appreciates adjustments, like a lot of them. And the ProPulse 220 has a lot of them. But if you own a ProPulse 220 already, or even if you don't, the adjustments of the start speed and the start time and the burn back and the pinch and stuff you don't even know much about, and how hard is it really to adjust all this, and you have to pick a value on the ProPulse 220 in order for it to work at all. So on this Revolution machine, there's automatic settings in it. If you don't know anything about it, just leave it in auto and it will do all of this for you. So this machine is so easy, an 8-year-old can weld with it, no problem. And it should be easy for you to pick this up without having to read like a 40-page manual and watch 25 hours worth with the videos. And my friend Tim from Tim Welds made a really good 20-minute long video manual on it, and it's easy. And when I made the video manual for the ProPulse 220, this ended up being like an hour-long video manual. So that just shows you this machine is 3 times easier, because the video manual is only a third of the length, 3 times easier to operate. So that is a big advantage on the Revolution machine as well. So what nobody tells you, aluminum MIG is not really all that complicated.
Aluminum MIG, 460 inches a minute, 24.5-inch volts, 24.5 volts I should say. Not bad. Never even burnt a tip.
So, and that's the ticket. You don't need no more awkward spool gun, no more little tiny rolls, no more messing around with this, no more burning up crazy amount of tips. If you learn how to MIG weld through feeding it through like an 8 or 9 foot MIG gun, your weld quality is going to be so much better. Over the years, I've talked to not just dozens, but probably hundreds of customers. And the feedback I got from enough of them was, man, ever since I got this ProPulse 220 or this ProPulse 200, and ever since I talked to you, I became the go-to guy in a 20, 30, 50-mile radius in my area for aluminum, and I'm doing all this aluminum works on stairs, on railings, on boats, on everything you can imagine under the sun, and people are so happy, and people are making real money, and people are really like moving forward, bringing their welding business to the next level. And that being said, with the Revolution machine, it's just so much easier. I mean, pulse MIG welding on aluminum is all fine and dandy, and if you need the control, and if you want to fill big gaps, it's kind of essential that you do this. But if you weld on thicker stuff, on heavier stuff, like 1/4 inch, 1/2 inch, or on larger areas like boats where all the heat gets just sucked out, sometimes it's nice to just have raw power like you would have had with a spool gun. So with the Revolution machine, you have options to weld aluminum with single pulse, with manual adjustable double pulse, or without any pulse at all. And the way how it got programmed and the way how it works now, it's just so nice to where it welds virtually smoke free. That is really the ticket right there. Where with pulse on the ProPulse 220, it does a really nice job, but you do have a cloud of aluminum fumes hanging in your shop, where with the Revolution machine, the way how the programming was done is just so much less, virtually no smoke. So welding steel, synergic MIG, either with mixed gas or with 100% CO2. That's another option you didn't have on your ProPulse 220. Single pulse 030 wire or manual double pulse 030 wire. That's another option you didn't have on your ProPulse 220. No matter what it is, you just knock it out of the park. Dump trucks, benches, barbecue grills, you name it, whatever it is, you're just doing it. So stainless is a whole nother topic. You can weld stainless MIG. You can weld stainless MIG with 98 2 gas. You can weld stainless MIG with trimix gas now that you couldn't do on the ProPulse 220. You can use stainless dual shield wire. You can use stainless gasless flux core. You can do stainless DC Tig with or without pulse. You can do stainless stick with or without pulse. What you cannot do is you cannot do stainless pulse MIG with a solid wire. That is a ProPulse 220 only function. So as you weld MIG, TIG, stick, you can leave your MIG and TIG setup all plugged in at all given times. You can leave 2 gas tanks hooked up with a dual tank cart, and you can just switch back and forth by a press of one button, and everything can be plugged in, and the machine automatically changes polarity. The ground clamp always stays in the same outlet. Likewise, if you weld gasless wires, the machine automatically reverses polarity internally and turns the gas solenoid valve off as well. So what do you gain? You gain everything. You gain power, you gain control, you gain arc dynamic, you gain functions, you gain features, everything you want. But the question is, what do you lose? The ProPulse will accept 12-inch spools, not just 8-inch spools. It'll be about 30 pounds lighter to carry around, and it has a pulsed stainless and a pulsed silicon bronze program. So if you never use them, the choice is pretty much clear. If you have dirty power, then there's an optional line filter for the Revolution available.